trailer trash. They make Apple look like trash. They're amazing when it comes to design. They're very minimal and really cool. And the other interesting thing, I've got a couple slides like this, where they've got this thing over here which seems incredibly unrelated, but this is all Louis Sullivan over on the side. So the guy who actually said that phrase, you can see that's pretty damn ornate. And his stuff is all, I mean, it's totally different, the stuff that he did, but this one you can clearly see that, you know, there's an emotional experience when you walk. This is a big-ass amphitheater, it's huge, and I wish I could remember the name, but it's, you walk in there, and there were some maybe better shots of it, but this just was kind of a neat shot, because it's all about the lights that are everywhere. It's, I mean, yeah, okay, the function is that it amplifies the sound, it doesn't echo, and it's, you know, a nice place to sit, and your ass doesn't hurt in those chairs, but really, it's just beautiful. Oh, and by the way, that little thing down there is a home phone. It's a VoIP phone. And it also does a little speaker thing, and I've never used it, but as far as I understand, it kind of sits there at your little coffee table, and it's beautiful. Okay, this is the book I was going to talk about, and I'm really not going to go too far into it, but I just want to say, has anyone ever heard of the design of everyday things? Okay, it's kind of the Bible of design, right? So anyway, it's the same guy, he wrote this, and I don't usually plug anything, but it's a good book, and it's all about emotional responses, and I won't get into it anyway, but it's good. Anyway, so getting back to this stuff, I'll go back. So this is, I picked the shuffle actually because I read in this, I don't know if it's true or not, but it was in the New York Times, there was a story, they were talking about a very similar subject, and the writer was talking about how apparently at Apple, they when they designed the new one, it's got the little thing that doesn't even look like it's an MP3 player kind of thing. It was kind of a specific snuff's the right word, but it was basically a middle finger to the form follows function rule of, okay, this really doesn't look anything like an MP3 player. It's this thing that just kind of sits there on a wire. But anyway, this other one here, the church, yet again, designed by Louis Sullivan. This is something where the aesthetics of the building clearly tells you what it does. This is a church, obviously. And then, the shuffle there, the older one there is kind of a little bit of both. It's beautiful, but at the same time it tells you what it does while you just look at it. So this other one actually have a better story than what you see up there. And I kind of put this up there semi-jokingly. This is Windows Vista, by the way. So two stories over that. So one, I got suckered into buying Windows Vista a while back, and honestly, I know it sucks. And it's been a horrible experience, horrible. And I'm sure it's great for somebody out there who has a badass computer that I just don't have at home. And anyway, I bought it because it was beautiful. I saw all these demos of it, and it was just stunning to look at. Here I come from the world of XP and the world of whatever's not beautiful. And so then I get this thing, and it's slow, and it's security issues out the wazoo, right? But anyway, so the better story of this, there was a blog I was looking at about this, but this guy was kind of talking about another thing like this, and he was specifically talking about gas stations, and how there's a gas station, and it's got well lit, and everything looks new, and it's nice, and of course the guy drives an extra however far out of the way to go to this other gas station because he trusted. He thinks, if he puts his credit card into this machine, chances are it's not going to totally rip him off or, mess up halfway through the transaction, that kind of thing. So, honestly, a lot of it comes down to trust. And that looks like a really nice house, but it could be totally dilapidated. And so, getting to the final point here is that, in the end, it's really about the experience that matters. Function is definitely important. And I'm not about to sit up here and tell you that, function's crap, and it's all about how it looks. I mean, we can go back to Windows Vista. It looks beautiful. It doesn't function for shit. It sure does for somebody, though. So this is another one that he did. This is, I don't remember, I think this is in DC, but this is basically a train station, which I would totally love to hang out at that station. It's really pretty. Okay, so I originally had this elaborate idea that I was going to take a bunch of existing stuff and take beautiful things and make them ugly and that kind of stuff. And I realized that a lot of the really beautiful things already had ugly things out there. And so I saved myself a lot of time and just kind of found some of these things. So, what if Apple really didn't give a crap? And I know that there's some people who, prefer PCs for sure, and I realize that with this crowd, actually, it's likely that a lot of people prefer PCs, because I know I use a PC for everything, but I can't deny that Apple has some nice looky look. You know, their stuff is pretty. And so the first thing that came to my mind is actually the clunker that I use, which is the CrapPad ThinkPad from Lenovo. It's heavy. It's the little things, really. It's got these kind of jagged edges up here that really suck on my finger. It can never find the internet or anything wireless. I mean, it's got all sorts of problems. So, you know, we can pretend for a second this is an Apple computer, and my big contribution was that I put the really old Mac logo. Okay, you know, what if a wine glass is purely functional? Because you look at this thing, and you got to think, that thing's going to fall over. That's just a bad design. So I imagine it would probably look like a mug. And that would be a lot more useful. So can you imagine people like, you know, stuffy like a wine tasting, kind of sitting around like, this is great wine, you know, just drinking out of, maybe they even like iron mugs or something. Something that doesn't tarnish. This one I was just kind of having some fun with. I thought, you know, because you're into robots, I thought I'd just kind of throw a bone your way. But this was actually an interesting thing. Okay, so this is from Fujitsu, and I'm probably getting the story totally wrong. But anyway, what I heard was the way they designed these robots, they were really concerned about people being freaked out, because people are freaked out by robots, especially because of that guy. And so they specifically designed these robots to be really short. Okay, so I guess I should back up and tell you what this robot does. This robot is basically like an executive admin, right? They also get it to, like, you know, answer the door, whatever. It's in companies in Japan, where apparently they're in the future, we're not. People show up to these companies and there's a robot that's kind of greets you at the door, like, what's up, you know, and like takes you back wherever you need to go, and, you know, I guess gets you coffee, I don't know. But anyway, the robot like greets you, but you wouldn't want to be greeted by, you know, some giant clunking robot coming in there, you know, and doing its thing. You want to be greeted by this cute little bubbly thing. It kind of looks like a walking ATM a little bit. And yeah, anyway, so they made it really short so that people wouldn't be freaked out when they saw it. Okay, I've been saying a lot of good things about Apple, but I'll just kind of say something bad. I mean, a lot of people complain about the, you know, fingerprints on shiny surfaces and stuff like that, but, you know, products just keep doing them. They keep doing them. And honestly, I'm designing a couple of products right now, and they're all shiny black surfaces and stuff like that. It's a little trendy right now, honestly, but really it's trendy because it's really beautiful. It's the least functional thing. It's really not a good design. So I purposely put something that's the least shiny thing on something that's very shiny, and it took quite a while to get the reflection right, but there's the elephant. Okay, so the other thing that I hear a lot, especially because I don't work in a company that designs stuff for consumers. I work in a company that designs stuff for the enterprise, which is kind of the forgotten, lost world of design. It's kind of weird we even have a design department. Usually people kind of like, oh, it's the enterprise, these people don't care how it looks. Like, you know, anyone who works in a cubicle is just a mindless drone who just, you know, whatever, they all work in DOS. So anyway, so there's this whole new kind of fad, and I again can kind of go back to the iPhone a little bit on that one, but it's I'm forgetting, the prosumer is what they're calling it. And so basically it's someone somewhere kind of had the obvious idea that the same people who go to these companies and use computers at work might just be the same people who go home and use computers at home. So maybe if they like nice stuff at home, they might like nice stuff the other 3/4 of their day. So, they started to kind of figure in those things for work. Now, don't get me wrong, there's still, PCs in the workplace, and my company IT department still only approves ThinkPads, but it's slowly kind of turning. It's a very slow turn, but honestly, it's kind of cool because it kind of starts up at the top with, the CEOs and the people who, have the budget to get the nice thing. Because honestly, part of it is that, customers come in, you want to impress them, you don't want to be like, hey, is there an expensive conference room and our piece of crap hardware in it? And, CEOs want the best kind of stuff, and it kind of just trickles down from there, and it eventually gets to where, you walk into companies with a decent budget, maybe not your mom and pops, but larger companies, they're starting to want nice things. And here's what it really comes down to. If everyone sits there and says, okay, enterprise doesn't matter, we're going to make these things ugly for them because they care more about cost, all you have to do is have someone come along and make it beautiful, and eventually they'll convince people to switch over. It may take a while, and that's usually because of cost, but they'll convince people, and then your ugly product will be out the door. So